to Real Life. I'm Sarah Bernard, and this show is all about buying, selling, and owning real estate, one of my favorite topics. I'm a realtor myself and also a TV host, and I love the idea of home and what that means to all of us. But behind the emotional part of that word is a business, and most of us will be involved in it one way or another. I created this show so we could help you learn the ins and outs of buying and selling homes, financing them, staging them, and other great topics around the subject of real estate. Stay tuned for our latest episode of Real Life with Sarah Bernard.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
We're back with Andrea Lenzen, and today we're going to talk about one of Andrea's top tips for homeowners when they decide to put their home on the market. And Andrea, a question I'm sure I get all the time is updating. What do we need to update, or do we need to update?
We do. We really do. There's certain things that you can do that will really protect your equity in your home. And one of the major things that we talk about is painting. Painting, you get 100% of your money back.
So you're talking about a fresh coat of paint
throughout the whole
when you
house.
go to put your house in the market.
Yeah. So what they're in there, the sellers are in there, and they've got like a red, dining room and a yellow kitchen and a green living room. Well, when people are shopping online, they see all those colors. They're going to go on to the next one.
Okay, actually, that's really a good point. When you said they're shopping online, so people are looking at photos, and you have to think about how your home looks in photos, right?
Absolutely.
And even how it looks in photos isn't necessarily how it looks in real life, though that yellow kitchen might be a lot bolder or even darker, right, than it really is.
Because what the mistake they're saying is, well, don't they want to paint what they want? Well, of course they do, but they don't want to spend money right now because they're spending money to get their house ready to put on the market, so they don't want to spend money on the house that they're going to buy. So they want to move into a neutral palette. They're going to live there for a while, and then they'll decide on what they want to do.
So when it comes to paint, are you talking about the main rooms of the house? What about that kid's bedroom that's pink? Is that?
It's always questionable. We usually give a pass on the kids' rooms because but I would say the main rooms would be really priority.
Okay, so
100%.
you got a pass on the kids' rooms.
You get a pass on the kids, if it's not really bad. But
right.
Yeah, you pretty much get a pass on the kids'
Okay,
rooms.
but the main rooms, the living room, dining room, kitchen, the foyer.
Master bedroom, bathroom.
So neutral?
Neutral.
What colors do you recommend?
Oh my God, my two favorite colors are agreeable gray and accessible beige.
Okay, so a gray or a beige. What about kitchen cabinets?
Ooh, that's always a good one. It depends on the price point of the home, number one. Painting has become extremely popular on kitchen cabinets instead of ripping them all out and putting brand new ones in. So painting and putting different hardware can make a huge difference. Also, if you've got a laminated countertop, I'm going to suggest go with quartz or granite.
Okay.
That's what buyers are looking for.
And would you say that to be true in any kind of home, any style of home, any price point, go with the upgraded countertops?
I think if you're over 250, something like that.
Again, it depends on the market.
Again, it depends on the market. Yeah. Right now, if a ranch didn't have a whole lot of upgrades, but it was in a good neighborhood and really reasonable, it could probably go.
Yeah,
without
doing that.
Right. It really depends on the market, the price point, what your competition is offering.
And what about thinking ahead? So if you know you're going to sell your house in 2 years, 3 years, you're going to be there for a certain period of time. Should you start thinking about those upgrades early so you don't have to A, find a contractor on short notice, or B, you can enjoy it for a while?
Oh, it's so many times that people say, I love it now, I wish I would have done it sooner. I wish they would have too. So they could have really enjoyed it.
Right.
Because that's the problem. They rush to get it done. It looks great. They go through all the hassle of everything, but they didn't get to enjoy any of that.
What about flooring?
flooring is really important. Buyers right now, they want freshly painted walls, current flooring, and storage. So flooring, wood would be preferable if possible, but maybe just upgrading, the carpeting. But flooring really needs to be fresh and looking good.
Okay, so is that something you should do closer to when you go to market?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's really
fresh and
because floors get a lot of wear and tear.
Another thing you don't want to forget is the curb appeal, the landscaping. You want to spend the money in there because it's so funny. We'll take sellers out and they'll look at the front of their house. Think about it, sellers don't go through their front door.
Right.
They go through the garage.
That's right.
And they need a new doormat. They go, oh my gosh, my landscaping. This is first impression. You're setting the tone. So you want to make sure that it really looks sharp on the outside. Power washing, all of that good stuff.
All the way around the house.
All the way
We don't look at
around
the
the
backs
house.
of our houses sometimes, and that's where they need to be power washed.
Probably
as
the
well.
most.
So,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. Well, these are some great tips when it comes to updating your home, things to prioritize. We love it when you're here, Andrea, to give us
so much fun.
give us the real scoop.
Love to help them.
Yeah, very good. You heard it here, folks, and I hope you paid attention to what Andrea had to say. Up next, we're going to learn some important tips about how to prepare financially for your next home. This is the meat of the business, and you won't want to miss the important advice you're going to get next. We'll be right back.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Hi, I'm Derek from Housemaster serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Housemaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Housemaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
Whether it's your first home or your last one, figuring out all the different ways to prepare for paying for that home can be a challenge, unless you have someone like Brian McRae in your life. Brian is a mortgage loan officer with Central Bank of St. Louis, Missouri, and is an expert in helping you navigate the financial aspect of making a big home purchase. So Brian, thanks for joining us today. You're the guy. and I don't think people realize when they're first starting out, like let's say you've never bought a house in your life, and that could be because you're 25 or it could be because you're 50 and you've been renting in San Francisco or wherever your whole life. Where do you even begin? And when do you call a Brian McRae to come in and help you figure that out? So what advice do you give people?
Well, candidly, I think before somebody starts looking, because usually when a home buyer, they get excited, they start finding when they start looking. And one of the biggest mistakes that I think people see is they're financing reactively versus proactively.
So they start looking for a house because they think, oh, I want to buy a house.
Exactly.
And they forget about, oh, I got to have some money to pay for it. Or
unless you've got a big bank account or a very gracious family member. The money side of things is probably, in today's world, probably more important than ever.
So start there.
Yes, absolutely, because the financing process is going to be really, and by the way, markets change, but our principles don't. So markets will change, but principles don't. So in other words, getting proactively ready, because when you find the house, depending on the market, you want to make sure that you've got your financing in line.
Yeah, and when you're talking about the market, you're talking about the real estate market.
The real estate market.
Right, so in right now it might be a seller's market and buyers feel like they don't have a chance and this and that, but that could change in a few months and it could be a buyer's market, but no matter what, you still have to do the same preparation, right?
Yeah, every client deserves a good mortgage, and in today's world, a mortgage is really more than just a mortgage. Now, at the time we're talking, interest rates are near historical lows, but even so, a mortgage is going to be one of the biggest liabilities that somebody somebody takes on
Yeah.
on the balance sheet, and how you structure that. And we tell clients all the time, be careful about what kind of loan. Just find a lender that you trust so they can walk you through what the options are, because the best rate or the lowest fees on the wrong mortgage can literally cost a client thousands of dollars over time.
Yeah.
So
okay, let's start from the beginning. So I want to buy a house. I've never bought a house before. How much money do I need to have in my bank? And I know that's a relative number, but what do I need to have? Do I have to have some money to put as a down payment, and what's that typical amount?
So again, markets will change, but the principles won't. Currently, there are some incredibly low down payment programs available. Those evolve and come in and out of the market, but there's FHA. You can do as little as 3.5% down. There's some other programs that are a little bit more unique that you can get 100% financing. And this is a little bit different than the last time 100% financing was available, because there's been some compliance. Our federal government has come in and said you have to check certain things to make sure somebody has the ability to repay the mortgage. So,
yeah. So FHA loan, so who would qualify for that?
By the way, that's a big question. So I'm going to give just a general overview.
Okay.
There's really 4 criteria that every lender are going to take a look at. 3 of them which are completely under the control of the home buyer: their income, their assets, their credit, specifically their credit scores, and typically a lender is going to take a look at the middle credit score of 3 bureaus. And then the 4th criteria, which really is a to be determined, is the home that the client is looking to purchase.
And if they don't know that yet, that's not important
That's nothing, yeah.
So we want to know, you want to know your income. So you got to have a job, and probably for at least a couple of years at
Yes.
that point, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the second thing you said was your assets. So what do you already own?
Well,
or
assets
owe?
meaning how much liquid, assets in terms of reserves, down payment, are all things that are being looked at, so that we can then position those with the best home financing strategy for the client for the duration of time that they think they're going to be in the house.
Okay, and then the last thing was credit. So paying attention to your credit. So if you think you might want to buy a home, whether your first home or your third home, in 2 to 3 years, these are things you can start working on at that point, right?
Well, when you say at that point, my recommendation again is to be proactive versus reactive. Because when you start looking, because for credit, for instance, 70% of credit reports contain errors that are negatively impacting someone's score.
Yeah.
And you may not know, we see it all the time. There's a medical collection that shows up that someone doesn't know about that's adversely affecting their score. So that's why finding a lender that you trust and having them review and see if there's any adverse impacts. Because again, markets change, but principles don't. You want to present a financing package to a home seller that is as attractive as possible.
So you'll talk to somebody at any point, and you prefer to talk to them well in advance of them going out to buy a home, to start looking at homes.
Well, from a functionary standpoint, that makes sense, because there's 2 roles a good lender will play. They'll play the functionary aspect. Functionary is just making sure we do what we're supposed to do, which is to get them the loan that they deserve. But so doing that proactively, so that we can again take a look at income, assets, credit. If somebody's thinking about changing a job, we may tell them, hey, then you may want to either accelerate your home buying process or delay it until you will qualify with a new job.
Right.
So just getting a professional's view ahead of time just on that situation is well worth it. So we always recommend proactive.
Okay. So, we have time for your top tip. What's your top tip for home buyers today?
Top tip for
You
home
get
buyers.
one.
That's going to be tough. Top tip for home buyers, the hidden thing, start early. It's just literally, start early.
That's perfect. You heard it. That's great. I love that. Be sure to heed all of Brian McRae's advice, as you'll need it throughout your life. And speaking of a lifetime of real estate transactions, our next guest is going to help you help your parents with theirs. Stay tuned. We've got you covered in the senior market next.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and SERVPRO.com, like it never even happened.
Hi, I'm Derek from Housemaster, serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Housemaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Housemaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
We're hearing more about aging in place, finding a home that will be perfect as we age and have more limited mobility. But for some people, it makes sense to sell that final home and move into a senior living type facility. Carmen Worley is here to talk about what that decision looks like for seniors and their families. And we also have joining us today Karen Kelly, who is a realtor, and you have actually experienced this with some of your clients.
Yes.
And in your own life with your own
Absolutely.
parents.
Yes.
So it's so great that you're here to join us today, Karen. So Carmen.
Hi.
Hi. So how do you have that conversation with your parents, your grandparents, your spouse maybe, if you're seniors? Where does that start?
It's challenging, and anybody who has done this knows, it's our lives, like our homes, and even selling a home, they're kind of in an arc, right? And so when we get to sort of the back end of those things, we're in retirement, we're getting to do what we want. Maybe you want to move to a senior living community. Maybe you want to stay in your home as long as you possibly can. And those conversations will be really different depending on the person and their choices, their likes, their dislikes. And so it's a very emotional decision for anybody. And so that's kind of where we come in, just helping folks decide, okay, is it time? Do we want to make a plan for the future, or are we going to stay here?
Yeah, so part of what you do for a living is to help families with those conversations. And is it difficult when they bring you in? Is it usually a welcome conversation, or it's like, uh-oh, Carmen's coming?
Yeah, it can be. It can be either or. But I try to be. I'm not the heavy. I'm going nowhere to tell somebody you have to move. My job is just to help them understand what's available to them and how they could maybe improve their home situation if they want to stay there. We have lots and lots of resources that we can introduce people to make their home more safe, or to help them decide, do I want to move to a community? And there's as many different answers to that question as there are people. So.
Yeah. And Carmen, I would say, having dealt with this as the adult child of two parents that have recently passed, have the hard conversations now. I made every decision in crisis mode. I didn't have a Carmen to call because I didn't know my resources. So don't avoid the hard, because it's just going to be harder when you're in it.
I completely agree, and that's one of the things that I so often remind our clients of. One of the main things I hear from people who have moved, who have chosen to move to a community, is, gosh, I wish I had done this sooner. My life is so much easier, But knowing that not everybody wants to do that, sometimes adult children are a little concerned for their parents in a home. You probably experienced this, Karen,
Yes.
Knowing what to look for as you visit mom and dad. Maybe you're not in their city. Maybe you're going to their home and you're seeing, wow, there's some stains on this carpet that are pretty bad, or gosh, doesn't look like this medication has been used the way it was supposed to. There are, stacks of bills on the table that haven't been opened. The refrigerator has a whole lot of expired food in it. There are some broken things in the bathroom.
They're leaving you clues.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
exactly right. They're ready for some help. They may not be able or willing to verbalize it, but they might need some help getting their home ready to stay, or they might need to take that next step and move, so they're not doing it in crisis.
So, and do you find that the seniors are reluctant to leave, and why? If all these things are existing, like you're talking about, all the clues that they're leaving, it's hard for them to maintain a home perhaps. Why are they resistant?
I think it's the same reason we're all resistant. Change is hard.
Yeah.
And when you've lived in a house for 30 or 40 years and all of your memories are there, and you raised your children there, and you had some really big life events there, it's difficult psychologically to let go because you're letting go of a part of your life that is now changing. So as you move through that process, we have to be very gentle, but understanding with our clients and help them see that there are really exciting things still ahead. You're not leaving all of the great stuff behind. You still have a lot of great opportunities in front of you. And if you'll walk with me, through some of the opportunities, you might think that one of those will suit you.
And I think that, reminding the siblings or whoever you're working with that, and as an agent, they still have the decision-making capability. Don't be talking around them, talk to them. When you have a parent that can't make the decision, but the home is their legacy. And as you said, all of those memories are part of that. So it's planting the seeds early and letting the decision maybe be theirs. And again, it's the saying goodbye, and yes, it gets easier, but it's their last bastion of independence.
Right, that's so true. But often what we find is an elder in a home that, say, has been there a little too long, and they are hanging on for dear life, but they're all by themselves. They don't necessarily have family that's coming to help. There aren't a whole lot of resources around for them that they're taking advantage of, and they're just isolated. And isolation does not equal independence. So when you think about, am I going to stay in my home? You need to really think about, okay, well, do I have resources that I need to make this possible? Am I in a cognitively stimulating environment? Am I able to, even if I can't leave my home, engage with other people so that I keep my brain alive, right? So that I am aging well. It's not my job to come in and say, you are in a bad way, you need to move out. My job is to provide some resources and help people understand, okay, well, if you move, you might be able to find a more stimulating environment. If you stay, here are some resources that I can give you to help you age well.
Right, and all the more reason to do, as you said, start that conversation early.
Correct.
So thank you so much, Carmen, for being with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
Stay with us because we're circling back with Andrea Lenzen, who's going to take us into a real house that's getting ready to go on the market. She's going to give us some very practical tips of what to stash and what to keep. You won't want to miss Andrea in action. Stay tuned.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Hi, I'm Derek from Housemaster serving the St. Louis area. A thorough Housemaster inspection will provide you with a clear understanding of the condition of the major systems and accessible areas in your home. As part of the inspection, we will also help you plan for future home improvement needs and take the time to show you how to operate many of the systems inside of the home. More than 3 million people just like you have had the peace of mind knowing that Housemaster performed their inspection. We look forward to serving you.
I'm here with Andrea Lenzen of Design to Sell, and we're going to show you today how to style your own kitchen to get your home ready to put on the market. So you ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right.
Can't wait.
Okay. So Andrea, let's start over here.
Okay.
And this is a typical kitchen. It's very similar to what I see every day in real estate. What are some things that strike you right off the bat of what needs to change to put this home on the market?
Definitely, we need to remove the dish towels.
Okay.
We need to remove the live plant. Basically everything off of here, you know, the paper towels. And
All of this
all
stuff
stuff
goes away. Okay.
Let's keep the espresso machine. That's kind of cool.
Okay.
But I think everything else needs to go. We might keep this to show a cookbook.
Right.
And then
Perfect.
we need to take the stuff off these little corner.
All the
cubbies.
knickknacks
The
need to.
knickknacks, all the little pictures up there on the
Right.
wall. Those need to come
Okay, so we're going to just open up this space.
That's the whole thing. We
and-
want to remove the frying pan and the other live plant.
Okay, so we've got some things to work on. It's a beautiful
It's a
kitchen.
big, beautiful kitchen. You want to show off your counter
Big
space.
island, right,
Yeah,
right.
great,
So we want to make it
yes.
look even better.
Absolutely. We can
Great.
do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, Andrea, it looks pretty darn good. So talk us through what you did in this kitchen.
Basically what we did is removed everything off the countertops here and everything here. We kept the espresso machine, so that way you can have that.
Okay.
But just cleared everything off, just added a few little items so you can
So
really show
and the
the
sellers
space.
could still live here. I mean, this
Oh,
is
absolutely.
their stuff is here. It's just put away in
That's why we like
cabinets.
to leave the coffee machine.
Got to have the coffee, right?
machine.
Can't live without that. Okay,
Right.
perfect. So, and what we've done is just lightened up the space. So when you walk in, you see the appliances, you see these beautiful, expansive granite countertops, and the brightness coming in the window. You're not focused on everybody's stuff, right?
Exactly,
So, yeah. So some of
exactly.
the classic: a cookbook, a plant, a basket of lemons,
Yes,
removing
right.
the sponges, the soap, the dish towels, that kind of thing.
Those kind of things.
All the stuff that we have, right? And
Absolutely.
then just the way we live. Okay, thank you again, Andrea, for being here and showing us how easy it really is to transform a space. And thank you for joining us again for another episode of Real Life. I'm Sarah Bernard, and we'll see you here again next time.